Today's topic is really, all of them are so lovely. I love composing the series because so many nuances always come forward where I get to learn as well. And today's topic is receiving the season instead of managing it. And I'm going to speak more to the nature of managing and receiving first, and then secondarily talk about what stands most in the way of being able to do this with ease. And then we'll go into our contemplative practice. I had decided this year that while I'm rich in storytelling, I wanted the series to be a bit more of a collection of quotes by individuals that say something that's quite provocative or insightful, more than the personal stories relating to the theme. And I hope that you're enjoying that because I know that I can really fall deeply into the embrace of insights and sentences that really touch places of the soul. So hopefully you're finding that as well. Now, speaking in general about humanity, we really, all our lives, are doing the dance of understanding what it means to be a responsible human being. Responsible meaning being accountable for my life, stepping up with agency, embracing my growth to the fullest. And in that dance, very often it is a slow process to untether the ways that that right action is really enmeshed with our general disposition to control things. There's a big difference between holding the balance of our life and stepping forward where we're called to with agency and controlling it, contracting around it. I'm sure that if you sat in a deep reflection, you could notice the difference. There's a quote by Jesus that says, "Come to me, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now, in this statement, he is not saying, abandon your life, take no responsibility, see yourself as a victim, be only passive. He's providing uh, a really deep understanding that the real agency in our life is oftentimes trust and surrender. And the face of trust and surrender sometimes involves certain action steps and sometimes involves letting go of certain action steps. So you can see where the locus of discernment is different than if you were making a task list and taking the bull by the horns and eclipsing the need for trust and surrender. Thomas Merton says that we spend so much of our energy producing ourselves, don't we? Who am I? What is my identity? What is my role? What am I meant to do in this very moment? We end up through that important set of questions controlling our days. We end up wrestling with situations more than what we need to. We end up micromanaging events that don't call for it. And we forget that the movement of spirit within us is something we receive, not something we obtain or manufacture. And I would say that the holidays usually amplify this tension with all of the expectations, with all of the special ways that we come together as community. And if you're someone that doesn't have community and the holidays are lonely, we can step into where do I belong? We move into these amplified tensions. We can feel loneliness in a more um, all-consuming way than we do at other moments in our life. But the season itself, even this time of year with winter, where in many parts of the world leaves drop from the trees and the temperatures plummet and the land is open and barren, there's a certain beauty in what? In the stillness. There is a collective longing, whether you embrace the holidays from a spiritual standpoint or not. There's a collective longing within us in this time of year for what? For light. We sit in greater darkness, and most of us long for light. So you could even look out on the nature around you and see that the nature itself is a symbol of the letting go. It's the symbol of the emptiness, the bereftness. And in that symbol, be drawn into the deeper call. The season could be like the beloved whispering to you, let me come to you. Sit still long enough to receive me. Sit still long enough to receive me. The discipline and receptivity is a discipline oftentimes, right? even in the old adage, it's better to give than to receive, which is true in certain circumstances, but not universally true. It oftentimes puts us in a position where we find it hard to receive. I work with so many Westerners that have worked all their lives on their ability to receive. But receptivity is a spiritual discipline. And to give you a few powerful quotes from different traditions, Rumi calls it, and many of you know Rumi as this great mystic poet, that the receptivity is being emptied of worry so the divine can pour you full. There's a contemporary Buddhist teacher, and I used to lead retreats based on his work. I really like him, Jack Kornfield. He says, the wisdom of the heart reveals itself when we stop trying to control the moment. Meister Eckhart describes receptivity as the birth of God in the soul. Not something we cause, but something we make space for. And the poet Rainer Maria Rilke says, and brings in another quality that goes into receptivity, be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves. Receiving the season is oftentimes an act of patience. So if you're someone that steps forward in management in a really big way, you could in this season let the season itself be a practice in the discipline of being patient to receive. Now, this can be scary on a lot of levels. We could wonder that if we step away and really trust, really surrender to receive, that we might find ourselves abandoned or alone or confused. We might find ourselves left in the emptiness with no light that comes. You can't know the richness that is there for you at all times unless you step into the emptiness. You could start by opening to a degree of emptiness. Maybe you can't give 100% in stepping into this receptivity, but you could give, say, 15% and touch your toe in the water while recognize the difference in this receptivity compared to what you're giving and producing. And slowly grow larger in the receptivity. There's this beautiful quote by Hafiz that I love. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. So it begs a bigger question here. Do you want to taste that light of your own being? Are you up for the adventure? Are you up for the risk? In what ways could you trust and surrender in a new way, even more deeply? Now, there are many things that create challenges around this, right? But one of them I'm going to name, I would call efforting. So when we're producing and we step into a high expectation period, oftentimes efforting masquerades as responsibility. I'm giving my all, I'm stepping in, I'm making a plan. But if we step back and trust and step into that emptiness, that unknownness in the moment, it can be revealed to us whether we are in the state where the yoke is easy and the burden is light, or whether there is tension in our actions and in our thoughts. It's there within us. That guidance is within us. Efforting convinces us that it depends on us. And here is another little delusion, right? Our spiritual path is between us and the life force and the source and the beloved. So, in a way, it is all within our own spectrum of responsibility, but not in the way that we oftentimes grasp onto it. Efforting keeps us hyper vigilant. It has us scanning things or planning things or adjusting or managing. It has us trying to really manipulate things, even from a great place of love. Receiving allows us to be breathed instead of focusing on the effort of breathing. Receiving allows the beauty to touch you in a way, to reach you, to arise within you instead of you reaching for it. Receiving opens the doors of your heart. Here are a few reflection points. And if you're somebody that's taking notes during this session, you might want to write these down or revisit them when you receive the recording. To receive the season means letting go of perfection. To receive the season means allowing moments to be as they are. Receiving the season means entering a posture of openness. Receiving the season means trusting that joy does not need to be orchestrated. Receiving the season means welcoming simplicity. Receiving the season means letting your senses lead you back into presence. When we step back from managing the moment, something happens. We rediscover the holiness of the moment. You could imagine this season not being a set of tasks, but a river of blessings. Not a set of tasks, but a river of blessings. Just sit for a moment in quiet and reflect on that, just for a moment. So, reflecting on these very deep, provocative insights, we can shift effortlessly because it's within our very essence to receive the season rather than manage it. We discover that this river of blessings that the season evokes for us, brings forward for us, gives us the opportunity for, is always taking place. Is always taking place. And before we move into our contemplative practice, I'd like to repeat that this time of year itself is an embodied symbol of the call to us. The trees without leaves sit open, vulnerable, trusting that the elements in which they live are going to what? Reemerge. And that a time will come when spring alights and they find themselves full of the abundance of leaves and fruit and flowers. It's okay to be a little afraid of stepping into that degree of receptivity. But remembering that Meister Eckhart says that receptivity is the birth of God in the soul. So this is a non-negotiable for us, a non-negotiable. It's not, well, maybe I'll do this. This is an imperative. And the season itself is the greatest invitation out of all times of the year. This winter time is the greatest invitation to us. The season whispers, and I repeat from earlier, let me come to you. Sit still long enough to receive me. So, our contemplative practice today is similar to the other day. It's going to be a reflective inquiry. And again, whether you're attending this series because you specifically want it to be your holiday practice, or whether you're attending the series because you wanted a 4-week meditation immersion, these are applied to the moment. So if navigating the holidays, participating with greater joy in the holidays is part of your reality, then perfect. And if it's not, no difference, because we're talking about the moment, and everyone's moment is unique. Everyone's moment is a collection of narratives that is particular to them. So I'm going to have in this contemplative practice 4 inquiry questions. And we're going to start by setting the stage with a bit of breath. And then I'm going to drop the inquiry question like a seed, like a whisper. And you are invited to simply allow that question, like Rilke I quoted, be comfortable with the questions. Let the questions themselves take you deeper. I am going to give space after the questions so that you can be there in that way. So I invite you to close your eyes. And bring your focus to the breath. Let the breath connect you with the reality that you are a living, breathing organism. Think about something, what's coming to me is like an image deep in the ocean where you would see like a sea anemone or some other, and they seem to kind of be breathing in the deep current. Think of yourself flexible like that, open to your environment. You can use any image you want, but that's the image that came to me. Here is your first question, and once I say it, repeat it to yourself softly. Where in my life am I trying to manage things? We're going to sit in the silence with that. Let the question itself reveal yourself to yourself. And now see that what you're trying to manage is simply contained in a moment. So shift to the next question. What would shift if I received this moment instead of managed it? Second inquiry. What is the hidden cost of my efforting? Is it tension, fatigue, ill health, irritability, emotional depletion? Where I effort, what is the cost? And with what arises, just simply sit without blame or judgment or analysis. And the third inquiry question: what wants to come to me? What in this season wants to come to me organically? What beauty or goodness is already trying to reach me? And let feelings and images emerge. And the fourth inquiry question: what can I release so that I can receive more fully? Is it a belief, a habit, a role, a pace? I invite you to bring your hands together, cupped, putting the pinkies close to each other like you're holding a flower in your palms. And what came forward to release, release it symbolically into these cupped hands. And then very slowly watching the hands raise the arms up, like you see in movies where they're going to release a dove or a pigeon up into the air. Raise the hands up and release what it is that you know you need to release in order to receive more fully. Separating the hands, opening the fingers, and let the arms open wide as a gesture of trust and surrender. And let the arms come back into your lap. And now, when you're ready, gently open the eyes, but keep your gaze downward. Place your hands on your heart and look towards your hands on your heart. And say, I am open to receive. I am open to receive. And raise the gaze to greet the day. Lovely to be with you all. Have a wonderful day, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow.